southwest part of Atlanta between Interstate 20 and Hollowell Parkway, African-American history was made more than 50 years ago, and it still thrives to this day in community associations, neighborhoods, and even subdivisions.
Certainly does. CBS 46's Fred Collier explains why.
Collier Heights is one of the few neighborhoods in the nation built exclusively by African-American planners and builders for the growing Atlanta black middle class. At a time when most housing for African Americans was in crowded sections of the city or in communities where once African Americans moved in, whites moved out. The black real estate community, which was well funded and well sourced, began buying land, and that led to the building of new subdivisions for African Americans, because integration was just not going to work in the 1940s and 50s. Paul Crater with the Atlanta History Center says Collier Heights' success did not go unnoticed.
It served the city by being a high-profile area. It got a lot of coverage in national news outlets of how African-American, upper and middle-class African-Americans are developing neighborhoods of their own. What's also unique about Collier Heights is a lot of the original residents that moved there in the 1960s and 1970s are still there.
Among the many residents, builder H.J. Russell, Reverend Ralph David Abernathy, civil rights attorney Donald B. Hollowell, Reverend and Mrs. Martin Luther King Sr., and Georgia Congressman Billy McKinney, a literal who's who of black America.
What it shows tells the story of how upwardly mobile African Americans were able to organize themselves and to their financial resources, their community resources, and to develop this great suburb of their own. I think it has a peripheral connection to the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act.
Another fact, many of the homes boasted large rec rooms to their basements to hold big social functions. A key feature because African Americans were not allowed in many, if not all, social spaces in Atlanta during that time. Those
houses were built with the realization of social segregation in mind.
Now, 7 decades later, income stability and political influences helped keep this neighborhood intact, thriving and attracting younger homeowners. Fred Khalil, CBS 46 News.
Black History Month is brought to you by Calvin Smith Law, the Injury Lawyers.